All right, hello there and a very warm welcome to Generation Me. This is Tshering Wangchuk, and in today's edition of the program, we will talk about a mobile application called mPower Youth. And to find out more about this mobile application, mPower Youth, I've come to the Department of Youth and Sports to meet a counselor. So we'll find about this app from the counselor. All right, sir, thank you very much for being on the program.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
So, sir, tell us, what is this mobile application called mPower Youth all about?
mPower app is actually a youth services app targeted mainly for our young children. The app was actually it's part of the government to citizens services initiative, and after the development of the app, once it was finalized, the G2C office handed over the app to the Department of Youth and Sports.
When did the department start using this mobile application?
I think we had almost about 6 months of development phase of the app where some G2C officials were directly involved, especially in the design part and also the funding part. That was sometimes in June, July 2015. And then we had a trial run for almost 6 months to see whether the app was really functional and whether it met our needs. And then I think from 2016 on, the app was freely made available in the app stores. And that is when I think people slowly started making use of the app. And then over the years, I think a lot of young children especially have now know that the app exists in the market, and then they have started utilizing the app.
What are some of the services, provided, some of the services that people can access, especially young people can access through this mobile application, mPower Youth?
Yes, I'd like to maybe focus more on the key features of the app. So there are basically 4 different components to this app. So the first one is it provides a platform through the app to access to all youth-related programs and activities which are provided by various youth service providers in the country. And then the second feature, which I think is quite interesting in the sense that people who use this app can have direct access to services, mainly with regard to counseling services, and also if you would want to connect to some other agencies and service providers. So the app has all the details, the contact details, and then the location details of all these service providers. And the third feature of the app is it contains all the utility aspects of services, like you have connections to all the youth centers in the region, and you also have all the other service centers, like you have employment service centers, which is provided by MOLHR, and then you also have detox centers, rehab centers. So mainly the app would actually give you the details of the services that these centers provide, so that people do not really have to go elsewhere to get the information. And then it also contains helpline numbers of various agencies such as crime, and then child protection, renew, and then the health services. So it's just on the touch of a button that people can call these hotline numbers. And finally, it also has all the important links to which most of our young people would look forward for services that are directly associated to them. Namely, you have a link to the Class 10 results web page, Class 12 results web page, and then you also have the link to RUB Admission Center. Similarly, you also have the direct link to job portal, which is managed by the Labour Ministry.
Well, so that's really wonderful. There are a lot of links, and users, especially young people, they have easy access. It's really convenient for them to, it's just a click of button. They can access various organizations that will be helpful to them. So anyway, so sir, I'm just wondering, why is this mobile application called mPower?
I think basically first thing is we're looking at something catchy, something that young people can connect to directly. So I think that was is one part to that. The other one is also because the name itself would define the type of content, type of services that our young children could avail. Say, for example, when we talk about empowering our young people, it means giving them proper support in terms of correct information, in terms of correct linkages to all those service providers. That would be very useful in empowering the children.
Like you said, mPower really sounds very catchy. Thank you for giving us the reason behind this name. All right, so sir, now let's talk about this application. Tell us, how does this mobile application Empower Youth works?
I think the first thing is very straightforward. If you're using an Android phone, you go to Play Store and then look for this app, and it can be downloaded to your device for free of cost, like any other thing. Yes, and then, like I said, there are many parts and features to this app. Firstly, you can actually collect any kind of information that would be of use to young people. And secondly, there also the services part where children, could register online for counseling. So I think that is also one of the key features of the app, because a lot of us go through situations, difficulties in our personal lives, and then you actually sometimes are also in a situation where you can't really express it out. So I think through the app you also have an avenue where you can release all those energies, all those situations, either by just commenting through the app, or if need be, you can in real time talk to a counselor nearby.
Let us now talk more about counseling through this app. First, tell us, what are some of the prominent issues that you have come to know through this mobile app?
Yes, I'd like to, share through this platform some of the trends that we're able to note since the inception of this app. So one thing is that a lot of our young children are now very receptive of talking to someone or going out to someone to talk about their issues, talk about their situations and difficulties. And as of now, after its inception, I think we've had a lot of young people who've registered for online counseling. So as of now, the number stands at 194, and out of which a total of 128 male have registered and 66 female have registered for counseling service through this app.
So usually, how many messages or emails or calls do you receive in a day or week?
Now, I'd like to maybe provide a small clarification on this. Now, the app actually is not a hotline platform, meaning it's not a crisis app where you can call for crisis intervention. So the app actually connects you to all those hotline numbers that are there in the country, through which you can seek services. But the online counseling part is where people can register, and then the admin would then connect them to counselors depending on the needs and choice of the person who's registered. Say, for example, I'm using this app now, and then I'm going through some situation. I have some difficulties that I really want to talk about to someone. So I use this online form where I can register my issue, and then of course I need to give my telephone number, mobile number in the registration, so that counselors can get back to my number. So once I've finished registering, so can expect a call from an unknown number, maybe within 1-2 days time. And that is where the person from the other end would ask you for your choice, whether you'd like to go for telephonic counseling or whether you'd really want to meet someone in person with whom you can actually discuss your issues. So that is one feature, like I said, but it's not a hotline per se.
So, the callers, whoever registers, they have this option to meet counselor or to talk on the phone, like you said, telephonic counseling. So, as a counselor, which one is more comfortable to you? Face-to-face counseling or telephonic counseling?
Well, I think we are service providers. We've been trained to provide counseling. So I think the difficulty, I'd like to question whether it is comfortable on the other side. So basically, we give them the choice, depending on his comfort level. Because there's some people who don't really want to meet and express and talk about your issues in person, but they're more comfortable texting someone, writing your situation, your issues, and then see what the other person has to say about that. And then there are also people who would rather talk to someone without having someone see you, without having someone know who you are, the identity. So there can be various types of individuals with different choices, different needs. So as far as possible, I think on our part, we try and cater to individuals as per their needs, as per their comfort.
But as a counselor, which one do you think is more effective? Telephonic counseling or face-to-face counseling?
Plus, I think this, I would, of course, I think if you talking in terms of therapeutic outcomes, so usually I think face-to-face counseling is seen as more effective and more therapeutic and more helpful. But given our situation today, I think sometimes it also may depend on the issues. Say like there's someone who's really going through suicidal ideation. What do I say now? Not really able to make out what he's going through, and it's all like his thoughts are all mixed up, and he's feeling all panicky and wanting to kill himself. So I think these people could actually find it helpful if they had someone with a face or without a face, if they had someone to talk to express. So Anna Beochin, I think especially crisis intervention part, so even telephonic counseling would be very, very helpful in actually preventing the person from doing something very, very harmful to himself.
Let me ask you this question again. Let's talk about some of the most common issues, especially among the young people that you receive through emails, messages and calls.
People who are now registering through the app, the number has been increasing over the years, over the months. And it's also, I think, because of the awareness and advocacy programs that we are doing in the schools, in the communities. So the number has really increased dramatically. And most of the people who have registered through this app are school-going children. Some of them are in various institutes and colleges. And one of the most common issue is related to their academics. A lot of stress. I think most of them have expressed going through a lot of pressure, a lot of stress because of the academic environment that they are in. And also for not being able to fulfill the expectations of significant people that they have, both at home as well as in school. And then the other most common thing is being overwhelmed with everyday life stress. And that is another issue for which a lot of young people had registered. And then finally, the third most common would be relationship issues.
Before that, life stress. Could you briefly elaborate what do you really mean when you say life stress?
I think because most of us could be like, when we talk about life stress, it could mean a lot of things here. Sometimes you have issues at home, so that issues can actually cause trigger a lot of stress also in your professional life. And in schools, more specifically, it's the academic pressure that gives a lot of stress. But young people, so not being really able to cope up with challenges, not being able to complete tasks, up to the expectations, and then you don't really have functional relationships with other close people around you. So these are few stresses. And like I said, sometimes these days even money, financial issues can also be a trigger to a lot of stress in your life.
Now tell us more about the one you mentioned, the relationship problems.
Yes, I think relationship problems is quite common again across the gender and across class. A lot of people express not being able to maintain a healthy and functional relationship with very important people in their lives. Sometimes you have issues and conflict with your close friends, and that can actually cause a lot of distress in your life. Similarly, at home you have problems between the spouse, or sometimes like you have parents who are not really in good terms, and then this actually spills over to the children in the house.
One question before we wrap up. Sir, as a counselor, maybe if you could talk about some of the achievements that you have made, that you've achieved, through this app, because of this app.
I think one good thing about this app is we're also now able to understand that given the opportunity, given the platform, and also given the accessibility, a lot of individuals, especially young people, would come for services. The need is there. And the other one is a lot of people have registered through the app, which also indicates that a lot of children have now full confidence in the type of services that are being offered to them. They found it very useful, they found it very helpful. And then the third thing is, I think a lot of children, again, who had registered through the app were also feeling very suicidal at the time when they registered. So we were also able to reach out to them, call them immediately, respond back to them, and then most of them seem to have had momentarily relief, which actually helped them recollect their situation, their thought process, and then move on.
Thank you very much for being on the program, sir.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Well, all right, that was a counselor of DYS, Department of Youth and Sports, and in this edition of Generation Me, we talked about a mobile application called mPower Youth. Well, this mobile app, mPower Youth, brings mobile-based youth empowering and counseling services, and it also brings you news updates on current youth-related programs and activities, and connect to a professional counselor in your location for free counseling services. This either through telephone, or you can also meet a counselor face-to-face. Well, it has a lot of services. If you need any help, make sure that you download this app, mPower Youth. Well, this has been Generation Me, and I'm Tshering Wangchuk signing off for the program. Well, thank you very much for listening.